The blast turns the corridor into a throat of smoke. My ears ring. Alarms strobe red across the embassy's opal tiles. Commander Brayson's gauntlet clamps my elbow hard enough to bruise. Reed. Move. He doesn't wait for my answer. He drags me past toppled ceremonial spears and a shattered pane of hollow glass that still loops the Queen's speech, with its mouth chewed out by static. My boots slide on spilled coolant. Somewhere behind us, a purist voice orders a clean sweep. The words echo like a bad promise. Brayson slams his palm to a panel. The door shrieks open. He shoves me inside. Silence falls like snow. The Queen's private hall is a cocoon of blue, sound dampened, light folded soft by living crystal veins that pulse with a slow heart. The door seals and cuts the screaming world in half. My lungs finally catch up. I taste dust. I taste the metallic tang of their atmosphere recyclers, cleaner than ours, and somehow sharper. She's there. Queen Maya Vale stands in the middle of the chamber with her mantle torn, silver threads frayed at the shoulder. There's a bright cut on her cheek, thin as a comet's tail. The sight punches through me in a way explosions don't. I've seen warehouse roofs collapse in Denver storms. I've watched a drone bus lose power on a winter bridge and hang like a tired star before it fell. None of that hits the ribs the way one line of blood does on a face the whole city watches. Brayson drops to one knee. Your Majesty. She lifts 2 fingers. Command without volume. His mouth shuts. Her eyes settle on me, noticing, measuring. I realize my hands are empty except for a crumpled field wrap from my jacket. Old habit. Dad's habit. Carry a bandage, even when you're just the consultant from Earth who was supposed to talk supply chains and not duck shrapnel. I raise the strip. May I? There's a flicker at the corner of her mouth, like a thought she refuses to feed. She inclines her head. I step close. The room narrows to the quiet of skin and breath. I peel the wrapper one-handed. The adhesive catches, my fingers fumble, and I hate that I'm clumsy in front of a woman who rules a world. Her gaze doesn't move away. It doesn't soften either. It weighs. It learns. Hold still, I say, softer than I feel. Her cheek is warmer than human. Not fever. Something electric humming under skin. The cut is shallow but clean. Whoever fired had good aim and bad luck. I press the strip on gently, smoothing it with my thumb. The living crystal veins around us brighten a fraction, echoing the contact. Her eyes do not blink. My breathing stutters, then finds the groove. Thank you, Jack, she says. First time without titles. It lands heavy, like a key in a door I didn't know I'd wanted to open. Brayson rises, scanning the walls with the embedded lens in his iris. We have to relocate, Majesty. Purist squads breached the East Wing. They're targeting the bloodline. Of course they are, she murmurs. Then to me, you'll stay here. It's almost a command. It arrives shaped like one. But something in the last word tilts. It's safer for us. I hear the edit, the way she trims power into intimacy and waits to see if it holds. I should argue. I'm good at the normal human script. Don't tell me where to stand. I'm not your subject. But the corridor still vibrates with gunshot memory, and the Queen of Kalara just let me touch her face. So I nod. Maybe it's foolish. Maybe it's brave. Right now it just feels honest. Here, Brayson says, unlocking a wall alcove. A service arm unfolds with a tray. 2 cups already brimming with blue nectar. The palace's answer to tap water. The cups are single sip. The etiquette is separation. I reach for one. Maya takes the same cup. Share, she says. Not asking. Blue sparks skate the surface as if someone dropped stars in a bowl. Our fingers meet on the rim. Her nails are clean, trimmed for ceremony, not war. I tip the cup. She drinks first, delicate, unafraid. I follow. It tastes like frost and summer at once, something the earth chemists will chase for 30 years and fail to name. My hand's steady. The room does too. Trust starts small, not in treaties, in mouths on the same cup. She studies me over the rim. You came to talk logistics and leaves of trade, she says. Today, you carried a bandage. Why? Because things break, I answer, and I don't like watching them bleed. That is an inefficient philosophy. It keeps people alive. She turns that over like a jewel. The living crystals hum low behind the walls, syncing with the slow beat of her pulse. Mine hasn't found calm yet. It taps at my ribs like it wants out. I'm authorizing a palace lockdown, Brayson says, voice clipped. Outer courtyards are compromised. Our sympathizers at the Magna lift station are silent. Silent, Maya repeats. No fear, just an evaluation code. Then they are captured or complicit. She looks back to me. Humans prefer hope over accuracy. Is that true? I prefer honesty, I say, even when it hurts. Especially then. Something in her posture eases. Not a softening, exactly, but a recalibration. She steps closer. Too close for protocol. Close enough that I feel the heat field of her body and the faint scent in her hair. The Kelleran Gardens, sharp and green, like rain just before it falls. A single strand clings to the bandage. I want to smooth it and don't. My heartbeat stumbles. I tell it to behave. It ignores me. I will keep you here, she says. Inside my quarters is the most protected location. The security lattice folds. The dampeners cut signal. No purist will cross it without losing their voice. A beat. Safer for us. The second time she chooses the word on purpose. It builds a bridge in the air between us that I didn't know we were allowed to cross. Brayson's wrist flickers with a map, lines of light mapping the palace, blotches of red blooming like infections. Majesty, we need to. Maya lifts her hand. He falls quiet again. Her attention is a laser. His training is to obey. It is the way power has always worked in these halls. Command, compliance, control. Payment after. She turns that laser on me. Tell me what a human does to steady his hands after an explosion. Find a wall, breathe, touch something that isn't broken. Her eyes drop to the bandage on her cheek, then to my hands, nicked and shaking. She sets the empty cup between us on a shelf carved from crystal bone. She takes my hand. Not a queen's grip, not ceremonial, just warm and certain, skin to skin. Like this, she asks. Yes, I say. It comes out rougher than intended. Her gaze doesn't blink. It assesses, and then, only then, allows. Your pulse is fast. Occupational hazard. What is your occupation, Jack Reed? Right now? Staying. A line appears at the edge of her mouth again, almost a smile. The kind you kid when you are made of marble and duty. The kind you only let out when someone turns out to be inconveniently human in a room built for statues. A tremor runs through the floor. Dust sifts from an ornamental arch. Far below, muffled, a shout cut short. The city is breaking and mending at once. Out the narrow window, I catch a glitch of light, where repair drones stitch wounds along the boulevard. On Earth, we would complain about traffic. Here, the transit skims are grounded, and the skyways are full of soldiers. We should move you to the inner nest, Brayson says. Secondary dampeners, food gel, med foam. I'm not a larva, Maya says, and the word nest hardens into a joke that could cut. She doesn't look at him when she adds, prepare the route anyway. He bows like a door closing and stalks to the far wall to whisper to the panel. My hand is still in hers. She notices, then deliberately does not remove it. You are very calm, she says. I am pretending well. That is a kind of truth. Good enough for now. The living crystals shift color, a slow tide from blue to violet, and an unreadable expression passes over her face, as if the walls have spoken a private word. Later, I'll learn they do. Low-band whispers tied to blood codes. Right now, I only see the way duty sits on her shoulders, like a cloak she never asked to wear and refuses to take off. She releases my hand at last and lifts her chin. "Jack," she says, tasting the name, testing how it fits in her mouth without a title. "Stay with me." Not stay here. Stay with me. The difference is a cliff that I decide to step off. I nod. We stand together a moment longer, two people pretending not to be afraid while the city recalculates itself around a wound. Somewhere between should and mustn't, the warm thread tightens. It hums through the cup we shared, and the bandage I smoothed, and the single decision I just made. I'm not leaving. Not yet. Not her. Night on Kalara is a careful machine. From the balcony, I watch repair drones crawl the avenues like fireflies with purpose, stitching light across cracked transit lines, sealing ruptured storefronts with quick-cure glass. The palace skin flexes, calculating wind and threat. Out beyond the river, the skimmers are parked in obedient rows, grounded by curfew and fear. The city hums through the dampeners, a muted heartbeat I feel in my elbows. Maya steps beside me, bareheaded now. The torn mantle is gone. A simple dark coat hangs from her shoulders, high collar shading the bandage I placed. The cut has blushed at the edges, like it heard something kind. "I was supposed to end the day with a diplomacy banquet," she says, dry. 7 toasts, precision laughter. Someone was going to play the water harp. "On Earth, that's called a Tuesday," I say. "Except the harp is a download and the wine is vending." Brayson lingers at the threshold, a statue built to bleed. "Majesty. 5 minutes. Interior sweep. Then you should rest." "I will perform rest later," she says. "Leave us." He hates that, but he salutes. Protocol is his religion. He withdraws into the quiet. I lean on the balcony rail. The material is warm. Everything in this palace carries a pulse. In Denver, my apartment rail is cold steel that sings when the wind hits it. Here, even stone breathes. Maya looks at my hands. "You are still shaking." "Less than before," I admit. There's a trick for this. Is it the wall and the breathing? That's one. The better one is soup. She tilts her head. Explain soup. Human survival technology. Chicken, vegetables, salt, patience. I glance at her mouth when she smiles, quick and unroyal. When I was a kid, Mom would stir a pot for hours. Noise of it, smell of it. It told me the house had a center. Your mother is alive? Not anymore. I let the truth land between us. No ceremony. But the memory cooks for me when I need it. She rests her forearms on the rail, mirroring my posture. The city throws cold sky in her eyes. Show me how humans find comfort. Her fingers brush mine, accidentally, and linger. The balcony is wide as a parade ground, and somehow we stand like there's room for only 2 hands and a promise. "Okay," I say, and I put my palm fully over hers. She doesn't pull away. Her skin is warmer than the rail, warmer than the night. A thread tightens. Felt, not seen. The living crystals in the threshold dim, as if giving us a shadow to stand in. "There's a catering note on the night floor," I say. "If this place can synthesize nectar that tastes like seasons falling in love, it can handle chicken soup." "I do not eat chicken," she says, deadpan. "I can work with almost chicken." We move inside together. I keep our hands linked until walking demands otherwise, and even then our shoulders choose to stay close. The quarters shift as we move, walls sliding, lighting following the angle of our heads, architecture built to anticipate a ruler's steps. It would be suffocating, if not for the way she glances at me when the floor warms a degree, like she's apologizing for the palace having opinions. At the catering node, I swipe through options. The menus learn quickly. Earth Cultural Pack downloading. Scrolling icons of borscht, pho, caldo verde, matzo ball, gumbo, congee. I select broth, clear, chicken adjacent, and add noodles because a man should have standards. The printer hums, a spiral of steam rising as if the bowl is telling old stories to the air. Maya stays a step back, watching me pilot the machine built to serve her. In our halls, she says, comfort is a calculus. We input distress and output strategy. Humans have that program too, I say. We just keep a patch for soup. She gestures at the bowl. Proceed, human. I carry it to the low table near the balcony doors. A small absurdity sits there. A silver ceremonial cup, its twin missing, the one we shared earlier. The residue of blue nectar catches the light like captured sky. I blow on the broth and offer the bowl. She takes it, inhales, and blinks like she just remembered something her body forgot it needed. Salt, she says, surprised. And warmth, I add. Very advanced technology. She sips. Careful. Again. Less careful. She swallows and lets the bowl rest in her lap, and her shoulders drop a centimeter. The palace hears it and dims the lights a tone. She glances at my collar and reaches without thinking, fingers straightening the bent edge of fabric. The touch should be ordinary. It is not. Her fingertips move a fraction slower than necessary, as if she's learning the unit cost of tenderness. You smell like rain, she whispers. Denver, I say. We build the storm nets wide. You can stand on a rooftop and feel the city's breath come home. Her hand stays a heartbeat longer, then retreats half a step, but no farther. We sit shoulder to shoulder and share one bowl. She passes it back when the steam fades, and I finish it with a gratitude that feels embarrassingly like prayer. The node pings a delicate sound behind us. I ignore it. The sound of her breathing is the only instrument I care about. The palace songs hum underfoot. Those tones, I say, do they mean something? They map threat proximity, she says, and they tell stories we are not supposed to write down. What story now? She listens. A field unfreezing. I nod. That fits. Maya angles her body toward mine. I'm angry at myself, she admits, a confession that scratches against her training. The purists planted a speaker in the choir days ago. I saw the pattern shift. I corrected the wrong thing. I'm angry at them, I say. Better target. She searches my face. How do you aim anger without letting it aim you? Pick someone to protect first, I say. The words leave me before the prudence chamber can veto them. Stand there. Then you're a wall, not a bullet. Who do you choose? She asks it like a test, but her eyes give the answer away. Me, she is thinking. Please say me, as if protocol begs for a proof it will later deny. You, I say. No drumroll, no flourish, just the truth, set down like a tool on a bench. Something changes in her then, not visible to an audience, visible to anyone close enough to borrow breath. Her chin lowers a degree, her mouth softens, and does not pretend. It isn't. She slides the bowl to the table and threads her fingers with mine, completely this time. Then I will learn your methods, she says, and the word learn comes out like a vow. We talk until the drones pull new daylight across the river. I tell her about the midnight bus routes on Earth, drivers who collect stories with transfers. She tells me about the lower platforms, where Keller and kids race on magnetic skates and try to outrun the palace cameras. I teach her the Earth trick of counting 4 in, 6 out, to coax the body into trusting its pilot. She teaches me to listen for the difference between a wall's hum and adores. The pull between us thickens. Pauses get longer. Gaze lasts. She asks me to tilt my head, and does the same, just so our foreheads almost touch, without quite. The restraint is somehow louder than contact. She laughs once, sound catching in the back of her throat like a swallow of light. "You are not what I am built to choose," she says. "Me neither," I say. "But here we are." We move to the long window. Rain begins, fine as thread, beating on the glass like the city is wearing tears it refuses to shed. She lifts her palm to the pane. The living glass recognizes her imprint and clears a circle. We look through an honest hole at a wounded street knitting itself shut. "This is safer for us," she says again, softer. "We're making it safer," I correct, and she hums assent. Outside, a repair rig lifts on whispering rotors, lowering a cluster of medspheres into a plaza where people wait like commas between fire and day. Inside, our fingers find each other. She is a queen who can buy armies, and tonight she wanted soup and a hand to hold. She is learning that warmth is not a contract. The second spark doesn't hide. It burns clean between bone and vow, and neither of us calls it a mistake. The storm thins to a hush that makes the palace sound like it's holding its breath. Brayson leaves us at the library with 2 sentry drones and a warning look that says, "Do not break the crown or the rules." The doors fold shut like careful wings. The living crystals lower their voices to a heartbeat hum. We stand among shelves grown from marrow-white stone. Books here aren't dead paper. They are memory leaves, warm to the touch, each one sleeping until a thumbprint wakes it. The fireplace is real. Old wood from ceremonial groves that fell in a storm 40 years ago. Flames climb slow, respectful of the stories they burn. Maya loosens her coat. The bandage I placed is a bright comet on her cheek. She sits on the floor near the fire, knees drawn up, queen refusing a throne on purpose. I take the place at her side without asking, back against the step, legs stretched so our boots nearly touch. "I'm tired of being stone," she says. It sounds like a password. A door opens in both of us. "I know," I say. "I don't. Not really, but I mean it the way you mean. I'm here during a long night at a hospital. That kind of knowing is a bridge you build with hands, not facts." She turns her face toward me, as if the room has finally granted us permission to be the size of people. The layers of projection, title, tradition, threat, slip one by one. Underneath is a woman with a cut on her cheek and rain in her hair, and an ache she is trained to stand at attention. "Jack," she says, like she's chosen the simplest version of my name. "If you say no now, I will stop." I meet her eyes. I don't want no. We move at the speed of trust. I lift my hand and let it hover. Palm up, invitation not order. She places her hand in it. Warm, human warm, alien bright. A current completes. Something in the library registers our contact. Along the baseboards, a soft gold wakes and flows. I shift closer, careful of the bandage. My other hand finds the line of her waist, not to claim, just to steady. A quiet stake in the ground against the night. She reaches behind my neck and rests her palm there. Thumb at the hinge of my jaw. A place you do not touch in a world built on protocol, unless you mean it. Our foreheads meet. Breath lines up. The kiss begins like we always knew the math. Gentle, then sure. Gratitude and vow braided into one small, enormous act. Nothing ceremonial survives it. No audience. No script. Only the physics of 2 people deciding to be warm at the same time. When we break, it is not distance, only breath. We stay near. Noses nearly touching. Her pupils are wide, reflecting fire. I was engineered to weigh choices by outcome, she whispers. Care was a liver, warmth, a transaction with a receipt. She closes her eyes, opens them. This does not fit my calculator. Then throw away the calculator, I say, and the truth of it surprises me with its steadiness. Build a kitchen instead. Another small laugh. Soup logic. Soup logic, I confirm. We lean in again. Less careful now. Still not hungry. Hungry can wait. This is sure. This is a patient flame. My hands map the edge of her coat, the slope of her shoulder, the silk, cool skin behind her ear. She answers with fingertips learning the seam of my collarbone, the line where a human carries the day's weight. A memory leaf near us wakes unbidden, warmed by proximity. A low tone threads the air. Characters rise across its surface like frost-printing letters. Maya glances at it, then back to me. Her palm finds mine. The leaf steadies into quiet. Sometimes the library listens, she says. It records firsts. Is that good? It makes ghosts for counsel. She studies my face. I might want this ghost. We talk in whispers because the fire teaches us to. I tell her about the night the Denver grid failed for an hour and the city went outside to look at stars it had forgotten. She tells me about the Kelleran rite of choosing a name at 19, when you walk alone along the shield wall and speak the word you will earn. She wanted Vale, she says, because a valley is where rivers rest and become strong again. Who is your overseer? I ask. My curator, the one who grew my protocols. She looks toward the dark, high ceiling where the palace veins web like constellations. She is called Mother in the contracts and Machine in the whispers. She can compel when she wishes. Compel how? Maya lifts her wrist. A faint lattice glows under the skin, patterned like meticulous frost. We carry a compliance weave. It can tighten. It can squeeze choice until it stops breathing. I cut mine to a thread the day I crowned. Her smile is small and dangerous. It regrows when I obey. You cut it alone? Alone in a crowd. She leans her head to my shoulder. Do not be impressed. Just stay. I can do both. A tremor of footsteps passes far down the corridor, guards changing position, the palace rearranging troops like chess pieces that remember being trees. We listen until the floor calms. She tips her face to me again. There is a cost, she says, to choosing you. I know. I don't know the specific price, but I know systems, the way they bill with interest and call it tradition. There's also a cost to not choosing. Her mouth softens. You make rebellion sound like a budget. I make it sound like a grocery list, I say. Bread, salt, you. She kisses me for that. It's not longer than the first. It lands deeper. We drift to the rug in front of the fire, half sitting, half leaning back, hip to hip. Our hands go exploring like careful thieves, stealing nothing, verifying everything. The room acknowledges us in small ways. The vents warm. A panel dims itself without being asked. The 2 sentry drones hover further back, as if shamed by intimacy. Tell me about your father, she says. Quiet man, I say. Built fences, fixed what the city broke. He didn't talk about love. He installed it. He left tools out where I could reach them. She nods like I've defined a faith she can practice. I was taught that love without leverage is waste. Tonight I do not wish to be efficient. Good. Efficiency is overrated. She makes a soft sound, surprised by her own relief, and presses closer. We share heat like a ration we don't have to hoard. Rain sass laughs against the windows and then wanders off. The library sighs. I trace the line of her ear with a fingertip. Do you hear it? The walls? Yes. No. Your voice. It's different when you choose instead of command. What is it like? Like a hand untying. She breathes out. I want more of that. We kiss again, and the living crystals along the mantle bloom to a warm amber. The memory leaf at our side records a phrase in our joined shadows. I do not read it. Some things don't need witnesses. A chime, distant and reluctant, interrupts. Maya freezes, head tilted, listening. The palace has spoken a name only she can hear. Her eyes narrow, a queen waking inside the woman like an armored rose. "What is it?" I ask. "Brayson," she says. "He's flagged a breach pattern, not here, yet." I feel my body calculate pathways, weight shift, hands wanting tools. She puts her palm flat against my chest and keeps me still. "Not yet," she repeats. "We will move when moving matters." We stay where we are and memorize the shape of our linked hands. I count her breaths. She counts my heartbeats. There is a discipline to tenderness I didn't know I had been training for until tonight. "Jack," she says finally, voice new. "If I am forced to return to the cage, I will fail loudly. I'll stand beside the noise." She smiles, and the bandage tugs. I smooth it gently with my thumb. Her eyes close. Open. The color in them is fire and water, country and crown, storm and field. I have no poetry for it, only readiness. "Teach me another human comfort," she whispers. I think. Then I reach for the oldest ritual I know that fits inside a hand. I remove my jacket and lay it over our legs like a small roof. We build a tent from nothing and sit under it as if the world cannot find us. Her laughter is quieter than before and hits harder. She tucks her feet under the fabric and bumps my ankle like we are kids under a table at a too formal dinner. "Chosen closeness," she says, tasting the words. "Not secret weakness." Exactly. The storm finally gives up and goes to sleep. The palace breathes. We do too. We stay close long enough that the library, which cannot lie, records the change it sees. 2 signatures tangled, 2 temperatures converging, 2 separate chronologies choosing a shared clock. We are not safe. We are not finished, but I am no longer alone in my skin, and neither is she. The night hasn't ended. It has transformed. And somewhere in the hive of protocols and contracts, a thread snaps with such a clean music that even the walls look relieved. Near dawn, the palace inhales wrong. A whine threads the walls, thin and mean, and every light takes one nervous blink. The dampeners don't fail. They flex, like something outside pressed hard enough to leave fingerprints. Maya's eyes open where her head rests on my shoulder. The memory leaf by the fire writes a single glyph, then burns it away. She's on her feet before the ash settles. Brayson's voice slices the quiet. "Majesty." He stands framed in the doorway, helmet under one arm, the other slick with someone else's blood. Purist squad breached the West Wing. Choir stairs compromised. They're driving toward the royal nest. The word, nest again. She doesn't flinch this time. Numbers? 2 teams, 12, maybe more behind. They've spoofed our friend or foe, and they've found an old chapel tunnel. They're bringing a sungrazer. If it kisses the throne room seals, I know what it does, she says. I'm already moving, the human version. Inventory brain. Shoes, jacket, pocket tools, the little shock wrench that saved a bus motor in a mountain pass, and once, a man's limb from a stuck brace. I feel the library's heat climb a notch, like the room is trying to make us hard to leave. Your Majesty. Brayson doesn't step closer, like proximity itself is a risk. We can still barricade the core and wait for reinforcement from the river garrison. Maya's jaw tightens. Decisions run across her face like bookmarks being pulled. The river garrison swore to my mother, she says. They will arrive in time to witness a body, and the contracts will tell them which word to use for it. Brayson looks at me once, brief and antagonized, as if I'm the soft variable that broke his math. Then we exfil. Route Harrow. Service shafts to the docks. Cargo lift 9. The purists will aim for 9, Maya says. Every training sim does. Exactly, I tell them. So we don't. Maya turns. The bandage I placed has gone pearl at the edge, a tiny moon over a field of calm. Advise Jack. Split early. Force them to bet wrong. Make enough noise at 9 to keep them honest. We take a worker's route they won't honor with attention. Brayson grimaces. It is also a smile, a battlefield kind. I'll trigger 9 and draw the tail. No, Maya says. You stay with... She edits herself mid-order. With us. Brayson hears the pronoun. A crack appears in his composure. He seals it by putting his helmet on. Majesty, the sun grazer. She nods once. Do what you must. We leave the library. The doors fold shut, sealing our warmth behind like a kept promise. The halls are a war of whispers. The building telling us where not to step. Distant metal singing where charges bite. We descend a service stair grown from bone-white ribs, each step reading our weight and purring back a quiet authorization. Alien discovery, the first of the morning. The palace can lie for its queen. As we pass a junction, the walls bloom a decoy silhouette of Maya, veering hard left, hand in hand with a ghost of me. Footfalls thunder after the false us. Brayson hears it and bares his teeth in something not quite joy. Good girl, he tells the stone. We cut right, into heat-wet air smelling of coolant and soap root. Laundry drones hang on rails like silvery fruit. I thumb their manual override and send 3 clattering down the hall, a steel flock to muddle echoes. Maya's eyes flick to me, surprised, maybe amused, definitely adjusting. The radicals, Brayson says, voice clipped through his mask as we jog. They call it cleaning the throne. Language for a purge, I say. Language meant to look domestic, Maya adds, so you don't notice the blood when it spills in the sink. Another tremor. The palace lights take 2 quick breaths. We reach a fork, where the passages narrow into a throat of pipes and hissing valves. Brayson lifts his wrist. A map unfurls in ice blue. Red blooms roam like hungry stars. Left is short to lift 9, he says. Right is longer, older, harder to track. Dead cameras. Smells like history and rust. Right, I say. Maya doesn't hesitate. We run. Alien discovery. Second, the old route was not built for escape. It was built for coronations. The back way for a queen to walk alone, unseen, to test if she can feel her own pulse over the crowns. The floor stones hold shallow grooves where generations dragged breath and oath. Maya's stride changes as she recognizes it. Her shoulders square with something older than training. We slow near a bend where the air grows cold. Brayson holds up 2 fingers. Voices ahead, close, bouncing off stone. The purists are singing, not words, a stack of tones like a bad lullaby. The hairs on my arms lift. Maya's mouth tightens. They tuned the sun grazer. Explain like I'm a mechanic, I whisper. It eats fields, Brayson says. Any lattice built on coherent hum. Seals, dampeners, the threads under our skin. Under our skin. I think of the compliance weave she showed me glowing like frost. My stomach drops. It could, yes, Maya says. If they graze me close, the weave tightens. Their mother's voice arrives in my blood. I'll break it, I say. She glances at me, solemn, fierce. You cannot break a god with a wrench, Jack. Watch me. We crouch as 2 purists angle past the junction. Their masks are painted bone. Their eyes are not. They carry the sun grazer like a tiny organ inside a cage of black wire, a machine that purrs wrong. The air near it trembles. Brayson signs. 2 down, 1 device. Maya signs back. Capture, not kill. Brayson's pause lasts a beat too long. Then he nods. I palm my shock wrench, thumb the charge low. We wait for the 3rd purist to turn his head. When he does, Brayson moves. Silent, surgical, a knee to the soft place, a forearm crush. I slide into the second man like we're practicing a dance I learned in a warehouse. Pivot, hook, kiss the floor with him. Maya steps in and takes the sungrazer with a grip that says it belongs to her heir now. The device fights like a living thing. The bones of the wall shudder. My wrench stutters, calibrates, offers me a sin. If I pulse at the right frequency, I can stun the grazer into sleep, or wake everything it hates. I make the small gamble. It works. The grazer sighs and slumps. Alien discovery. Third, the sungrazer isn't purely theirs. Its shell bears palace script, repurposed. The purists stole a guard dog and taught it new teeth. Maya sees the script, and her face goes white with fury you could read by. They had help, Brayson says, voice flat. Inside. Later, Maya replies. The word later is a promise and a threat. She sets the grazer into a maintenance cradle. The cradle retracts it into a stone pocket, whispering a lullaby the device understands. We run again. Pipes sweat. Our breaths white the air. Brayson, I say, because my head is counting contingencies. If we split, can you take the false route and make it true? Draw them high and loud? Orders? He asks Maya. She looks at me. I don't look away. I can get her to the docks, I say. I know the old machines better than the new ones. Give me 1 minute with a panel, and I'll make a door where you see a wall. Brayson's silence is a test. Then he nods, an oath revised. Coordinates? I give him an Earth-safe house on a breath, the one painted on the inside of my ribs since the last time I owed a debt. Denver outskirts, Riverbend storage. Ask for Tio Marco. Tell him Jack owes you a radiator. Maya's gaze sharpens. You planned an exit? I plan everything I'm afraid to lose. Something unroyal moves in her eyes. Go, she tells Brayson. Make 9 noisy. He hits his chest plate in salute. We clasp forearms fast, like brothers we're not and might be. Then he vanishes left, a moving problem set for the purposes of keeping us breathing. We take the right-hand throat. The passage tightens to shoulder width. The air tastes of copper. A child's chalk drawing ghosts a low wall. 2 stick figures with crowns, and a third with a messy halo of hair. Someone once let their kid into the forbidden place. The picture feels like a blessing from a small god. At the base of the final stair, a panel waits with no visible interface. Old tech. Honest. I kneel and unscrew a faceplate the palace pretends not to have. Tangled behind it is a nest of fibers singing faintly, each one a tiny river of light. Can you? Maya asks. I can try. I cut 1, bridge 2 with a strip from my field wrap, use my wrench to whisper a frequency the panel doesn't hear very often anymore. The wall thinks about it. The stair hums. Somewhere deep, a lock asks a question I answer with my name. The door opens. Cold air rushes our faces, smelling of river and oil and old fish. We are in the dock's sub-basement, a cathedral of shadows and machines. Beyond, the waterline lifts and lowers with the breath of the city. Cargo skimmers sleep in their berths like silver whales. Footsteps snap in the distance. Voices. Wrong ones. Our window is seconds wide. Maya takes my hand. If you go alone, you'll live, she says. You are a human advisor. They do not hunt your kind yet. I don't care, I say. I'm not loud. I'm not noble. I am sure. I choose you. Not the post. You. She stares at me like the math in her head just admitted it loves art. Then she nods. Once. Then live with me. We sprint along the catwalk toward a cargo shuttle yawning like a new mouth. I slap the release. The ramp lowers with a shuddering groan. Inside smells of rope, resin, salt. Systems blink dumbly, waiting for someone to invent a plan. I invent one. I lock us in, throw the manual toggles Brayson's generation fought to keep, and feed the engine the kind of lie a machine likes. A pretend diagnostic that asks it to breathe like a heartbeat. The shuttle hums to life, low and guilty, then proud. Shouts blossom behind us. A gun cracks, sharp as a ripped sheet. Maya slides into the co-pilot cradle, hands flying. A queen who learned to fly in secret so no one could claim she needed them. The bay doors grind open. Night unfurls. We lift. Outside, pursuit wakes. 3 skimmers leaping from the water like knives remembering their purpose. Inside, our fingers lace across the console. The city turns its wounded face up to meet us, and I think we are leaving protocol behind, but we are not running from fear. We are running toward a future we intend to invent. Alarms bleat. A shot scrapes our starboard fin. The shuttle lists and corrects. Maya's jaw is set, eyes clear. "Hold," she says, and the order is also a prayer. We hold. We climb into Kalara's night, and for the first time since the blast, I feel the shape of a different morning,